Brian is these days the chairman of the Committee on the Present Danger China, which I'm proud to be the vice chairman. And he and I wrote a letter that I mentioned just before the break. Give us a little bit of the background on it, Brian, if you would, both in terms of what we've just been discussing, it sort of gives rise to the memo in the first place, but also the national security strategy that was unveiled by the White House last week and how it bears on our recommendations, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Frank. The national security strategy, as far as it goes, is pretty tough and articulates a lot of very sensible, let's call it commonsensical kind of approaches when it comes to our enemies abroad. One of these, of course, is Communist China. And it wants to have relations with Communist China, we the United States, in ways that are mostly reciprocal in nature. Now, I say that knowing
Fair
we all
and reciprocal.
fair and reciprocal. Yes, absolutely. And so I personally don't even think we need a document like the National Security Strategy. The President Trump and American policymakers always have to be looking out for what is in America's national interest, what is fair and reciprocal, right? Just from a common sense point of view. One of the things with Communist China is their trade policies. And are they behaving? Is the money that we are exchanging with Communist China when we engage in trade with them, are those relationships fair? Are the trade deals fair? Are we being treated the right way? Are we being excluded from Chinese markets when we give them access to U.S. markets? And so this requires policymakers to examine and see whether or not, in fact, these things are fair and reciprocal. One of the things that is lacking in that document, even though I think it's quite good overall, is the kind of specificity when it comes to U.S. investor dollars going to Communist China. And we have to be very careful, as we've been talking about, in making sure that no money is going there that would be at all harmful to the United States. Now, we suggest all these things at a time when we very much need to engage in trade with Communist China when it comes to these rare earth minerals and rare earth magnets that are essential to our manufacturing here in the United States. So we're in kind of a predicament right now. We would like to, I think, as a nation, have a more robust domestic manufacturing here in this country. We would like to decouple from Communist China, but we can't do so until we have a more robust manufacturing base here with the capacity to produce these rare earth minerals or acquire them from allies or friendly nations abroad. And so we are in this predicament right now where things are not quite perfect. We cannot decouple from Communist China. But the thrust of the memorandum we sent to the White House earlier today was that in that interim period, we want to at least make sure that there is not obvious investments being placed in companies that mean the destruction of the United States, and I would say the transfer of technologies going to Communist China. And one of the things that we didn't talk about when it came to Jamie Dimon was, they want to invest 1.5 trillion in American national security and infrastructure. Well, one of those things is artificial intelligence. And left to its own devices, the kind of companies Jamie Dimon would be investing in would be more than happy to transfer this technology and other technologies to Communist China. The globalist part of American society, even that still exists within the Republican establishment in Washington, is still very much of the view that we can play nice with Communist China, that we can be long-term partners, that we don't have to worry about their threat to the United States. And one of the jobs that you have been so brilliant at, Frank, is highlighting this for Americans so that they understand there is a threat from Communist China. And unless we wake up to that threat and are extremely careful about, one, making sure we're not making the Chinese wealthy and technologically capable, but also that we need to be wealthy and technologically capable, until we have that understanding properly in place, we're going to be up against it. And that's one of the things President Trump is trying to correct here. And we've offered to help them wherever we can so that they understand the parameters of that and what they need to be tweaking within the administration to make sure that we're not enabling Communist China any more than we already are.